Hello and welcome to another session of Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen and these are my colour conversations. It's that time again where we need to look at another colour reading for prediction purposes. Again, we're looking at birthdays, and if you're new here, then hopefully you'll come across something that you haven't seen before. Predictions using colour are quite different to those using tarot cards or the I Ching, for example. If you're a regular viewer, of course, then you know exactly what to expect. And I hope that this upcoming month of July, will be a lot better for you than June was. Certainly, I hope it will be for me, because I do the things that I ask of you. I choose my colours and I incorporate them into my life as much as I possibly can. This month, I've chosen another Oracle card set. This one is called the Telepathy Oracle cards. Now, there's no information on them whatsoever as to where they came from, but I rather like them because of the messages that they give us. As usual, I've pre-shuffled the colour cards. Well, you could actually say I've pre-randomized them because I'm not much of a shuffler. And if you want to see that randomization process, there is a video called Shuffling for the Non-Shuffler that's in the playlist that you'll find this particular video under as well. This is the colour reading for the month of July for people born in the month of July. So it's your birthday month reading. And to begin with, let's choose ourselves an oracle card. Now, I'm actually learning to shuffle, not doing it very well yet, but let's see. And I'll just pop that card there. And we'll look at that at the end of the reading and determine what it is that ties in the rest of the reading. All right, now, a reading for people born in the month of July for July. The energy that you bring with you into July is blue on grey. The energy that you have throughout the month of July is yellow on purple. And the energy with which you leave July is red on purple. And the underlying energy is green on black. All right. When we look at this colour combination here, the first thing we notice is that there is one colour that is repeated, and that happens to be purple. And the purple is found in the motivation section of both of the colours wheels in which that particular combination is found. That means it's important. And purple is all about change. So change becomes a major driver throughout the month of July for you. Let's now have a look at how you come into the month. For a start, we have as the underlying energy that impinges upon every aspect of your journey throughout July, green on black. Black is all about isolation. It's about wanting to get away from things, away from people, away from events, away from experiences, and to connect with your inner self. It is your spiritual urge, and it's the urge to make you want to listen to that inner voice rather than be involved in all sorts of activities in the real world. But how do you react to that? Well, the green in the real world, the green of the actions that you take as a result of this urge for privacy and quiet solitude, is one of trying to find space, trying to find new pastures, new opportunities to find the sort of heart space that you are looking for. Green has to do with the heart chakra, so it's actually also associated with your values. What are you looking for? New values that will link in, that will find some sort of solace in the solitude that you are looking for internally. How does that affect your journey into the month? Well, if we have a look at the motivator here for the beginning of the month, it's grey. Grey is about confusion. It's about uncertainty. It's about not being able to make good decisions, indecisiveness. But it's also very closely related to the black. And that means that there is a lot of this solitude, this wanting to find yourself, that also occurs here at the beginning of the month. But it's a confusing sort of energy. You don't know what it is that you are looking for. You know that there's something you're looking for yourself in your inner world, but in the real world, there is no guarantee that you know exactly what that is. And part of that drive to overcome that confusion, to overcome the uncertainty and to lead to somewhere more positive, means that in the real world you are stymied. Blue in the real world is about stability. It's about organization. It's also about duty. So there are things that you need to do at the start of the month that are preventing you from this urge to just get away, find something new in your life that is more valuable to you and more helpful to you, to find the voice that you are looking for inside, to find your spiritual connections. By the middle of the month, we have purple. Purple as the underlying motivator. And purple, when it darkens right down, is the closest hue, the closest color that we have to black. So in many ways, it is also related. It's about change, but also fairly dramatic change. Here, the urge to get away is to get away from the stability and the organization and the duty that you have here in the past. But now, that urge to get away becomes one of, let's just do something dramatic to change the situation. And what are you going to do? Well, in the real world, you're actually experiencing stuff. You're starting to experiment. You're starting to find yourself investigating the sorts of experiences that will teach you new things. You're learning stuff. Purple and yellow are opposites on the colour wheel, which makes it an interesting combination, because when you have purple inside the need for major change and disruption, and you meet that in the real world by actually going out and learning something new, you find yourself swinging from your internal desire for change and the external action, the actual changes happening. But do they necessarily help you along the way? All of that depends on which direction you have gone down here as part of the motivation. By the end of the month, that purple energy still exists, but now instead of a yellow response, a learning response, you've now decided to take charge of your life. You've decided you are the one that is going to determine just what it is that you want to achieve, and in doing so, you now become an arbiter of change. You become someone who now is motivated to do something in the real world. But be aware that every time red appears in the action part of one of these colour circles, it also means that you can actually have a bit of an explosion of temper. That's not necessarily good, but at the same time, it does have ramifications from your underlying energy here, because red and green are opposites on the colour wheel. And so instead of just simply finding new values, you're also insisting on those values taking over. So there is an explosion of energy that is enforcing the sorts of ideas and belief systems that you have developed back here with your change of heart as a result of that underlying energy that comes through as wanting to connect with something real inside of yourself. So let's examine now the colours that are missing. These are the ones that will determine what it is that you can do to make changes more easily in your life. Well, for a start, we have black, but there is no white. You have red, you have yellow, you have green, you have blue. There's no brown, there is no orange, you have grey, you have purple, but there is no pink and there is no cyan. These colours represent the ones that you have that are active in your reading, represent those skills and attributes that you are able to manage easily throughout the month. These ones, the white, brown, orange, pink, and cyan, are those attributes and skills that you are not using and for some reason or other are having difficulty in incorporating into a well-rounded existence. White is hidden within the grey, but it doesn't exist in its own terms. It's all about being able to deal with curiosity, dealing with the unknown, being able to simply allow experience to take its course and you simply go or roll with the changes. Brown is all about being able to establish this. Brown is all about you being able to establish yourself as a self-made person. You have your own ideals, you have your own goals. And brown is actually a hidden colour between the red and green that you have here, but it's also a hidden colour between the yellow and purple here. So there is an opportunity here within the month for you to become your own person. Orange is a colour of dealing with crisis and calamity. There is nothing here that reads that a crisis or calamity is likely to occur, but if it does, do you indeed have the courage, or is it lacking for you to be able to meet that crisis head on and overcome it? Pink is the colour of vulnerability, but it's also the colour of unconditional love. Are you able to deal with the issues that you will face in such a way that you just simply allow them to happen without necessarily putting up a struggle? And finally, we have cyan, which is the colour of ultimate peace and quiet and no problems whatsoever. But it's also a colour associated with stagnation. Nothing changes. Unlike the blue here, which is all about duty and responsibility and doing what is necessary to maintain the status quo, cyan is more about I can't do anything, I don't want to do anything, I'll just sit here and allow myself to just exist. So as usual, what we need to do here is to take the one colour out of those 5 that is most appealing to you, and then the one colour that is the one colour that is least appealing to you, and put those 2 together into your life in some way. When you do so, you'll find that your journey through this month will be less one of depression and desperately looking for change than it is of finding yourself and finding where your true heart lies, because that is the positive side of that underlying energy. And that's the one we should be aiming for. So let's now have a look at what the Oracle card had to say. Now, Telepathy Oracle card says, connection. Your connection is eternal and unbreakable. When we are in touch with ourselves internally, then that is unbreakable. And it does last long after we have left this earth and moved on to new pastures. So, lots to think about this month, don't you agree? I hope that the colours that you choose will be of benefit to you, and hopefully the colours that have been chosen for you will help to clarify some of the experiences that you will be undergoing in the month of July. Until we meet for the next colour reading. May the colours that you choose guide you and help you along the way. Until next time, bye.